Hello, everybody. We're back again today. Here, joined by legends in the VC. We got Jeff Whitcher, Vinyl Destination, Aaron Mutha Alamare, Sam St. John. The topic today is the Beatles, a little different slant. This was actually Aaron's idea. He had seen the videos that Sam and I had done. We did 12 different albums and ranked the songs. And he sent me an email and said, I'd love to do a video with you guys. And I said, give me an idea and we'll definitely make it happen. And he said, how about a yellow album? And I said, yellow album, that's interesting. He goes, yeah, nothing on the red, nothing on the blue. These classic 73 greatest hits albums that came out. Anything on here is off limits, but anything on, you cannot do anything that's been on the red or the blue. We'll call it the yellow album and make our own album up. Double album, of course, 7 songs on each side. We'll see how it goes. Jeff seemed interested, so we reached out to him. We have a foursome here. These guys are, I think, much more versed on the Beatles than I am. I'm a fan. These guys are actual historians, and Jeff's collection of the Beatles is staggering. I've seen that, and it's unbelievable. So I know they know a lot more about the Beatles than myself, but I'm along for the ride and I hope to learn some stuff along the way. So the way we're going to do it, we're going to go in rotation, side by side. We tried our best to divide it up like the red, 1962 to 66, and the blue, 67 to 70. Try to stick to that format as much as we can. Aaron's going to go first, followed by Jeff, Sam, and myself. And we're going to create our own Beatles album based on the songs that were not on the red or the blue. So, guys, great to have you all here. Aaron, you're going to go first. So what do you got lined up for us, man?
All right, well, just first off, there's a reason I picked yellow. It's just not a random color. It's because I went with the 3 primary colors, red, blue, and yellow, the 3 primary colors. Thought that would fit. I didn't just I was going to say the orange album or something like that, but,
Yeah.
So this is actually something I've been thinking about since I was a kid, because I always saw those, I've had listened to those records since I was young. And I was always like, well, there's so many of the great songs off these, especially from the album Revolver, which only has Eleanor Rigby and Yellow Submarine, and it's a great record, which was really shocking to me. There were only 2 songs off that, even when I was young. So I'm going to start off in my first song. My first side will be the earliest and, progressively get later. So my first song is from this record here. It's I Saw Her Standing There, the first song off the first record. And I just thought that was, it's just such a good song. And I thought that would be an appropriate way to start the record. And then my second one is also from here. Do You Want to Know a Secret? The first George Harrison song. And I've always really loved those songs. And we still kind of hear those played here and there on the radio, well, if you listen to the radio, which I really don't, but they're kind of just songs that's what I try to do, is use songs where instantly you just know what they are instead of just, my favorites, but I did throw some of that in too. And then for my number 3 song, I put You Can't Do That, which is a great song. I really love that one. And it's I've heard a few cover versions of that, and it's always been one of my favorite songs from this album. And I think it's on a different album for America. I can't remember. And then my 4th song, also from here, I Should Have Known Better. Mm-hmm. So I Should Have Known Better, You Can't Do That from this. And I actually got 4 from this album, which is crazy. Next up is If I Fell. Really love that song, the mellower song. It's just always a haunting, great melody that I've always loved. And it's, when I think of early Beatles, that's one of the first songs I think of, actually. And then the song that Kiss inspired of me for this, because there's an old Kiss video called Kiss Exposed, and they were talking about singing on the streets, like before they were famous, and they were singing this song on that Kiss Exposed video. This is back in the 80s, and it was I'll Be Back. So you heard them singing a Beatles song.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. So I always think of that song with the early stuff too. And to follow out my first side, one of my favorite Beatles songs from this record, I'll Follow the Sun. Love that song. These songs to me are just like the cream of the crop of the early stuff that wasn't on there, to me. I mean, they're the ones that stand out to me the most. So that's what I picked for my first side.
That's what we're trying to do, pick out the cream of the crop to ourselves. So that I love what you chose. A little bit different. I think I have I've got 2 of the 7 so far. Jeff, what do you have on yours? think he's
Well, one
frozen.
thing I wanted to bring up, which is interesting, because the first batch of songs I'm going to talk about are going to be off there. What some people, this photograph is actually the same as this one, but it's not. They're actually different pictures. How's my internet? Is it cutting out? Can you guys
in
hear
and
me
out.
okay?
I can
It's in
hear
and
you,
out.
but you're kind of frozen. Just roll.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, what I was going to say is, sorry about that. So I was going to say that some people think that this picture is, these are the same pictures, but they're actually not.
Okay.
So
That's interesting.
a little
I didn't know that.
interesting thing there.
I didn't know that either. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Yeah. If you look there, it's from the same photo session, obviously, but they're different pictures. So anyway, and I can't believe how underrepresented this album is. There's only 2 songs on this Red album from here. And I think it's a great album. I don't think it's their best, but I think it warranted more than 2 songs. So the songs that I'm picking for my side one, I'm going to go with I Saw Her Standing There, which fantastic track, lead off track, obviously, from Please Please Me. I'm going to go with Twist and Shout, which I think is one of the Beatles' best cover songs. I mean, they really make that Isley Brothers track their own. P.S. I Love You, which was obviously the flip side of Love Me Do. That was almost like a double A-sided single. Both those songs are really fantastic. And then I'm going to go, it's funny, so far, Aaron and I have just completely skipped over with the Beatles and gone straight to A Hard Day's Night. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. With the Beatles, it's just not, I mean, I like it. It's just not my favorite album. It's probably down near the bottom, like just above Yellow Submarine for me.
Wow.
But I mean, there's great songs on there. I don't hate any Beatles album, but it's just too many cover songs on that album for me. So I'm skipping over that one. And I'm going to A Hard Day's Night for I Should Have Known Better. I was actually kind of surprised that is not on the Red album. And then also I'll Be Back. Love that song too, Aaron. And I think I've heard that you're talking about where Gene and Paul are harmonizing on that song. Very cool. And then kind of a curveball here. I'm going to throw in Things We Said Today, also from A Hard Day's Night for my number 6. I've always loved that one. I mean, John and Paul were just really, going back and forth in terms of just the brilliant songwriting. And I think this is one of Paul's best early songs, like pre-1966. I've always loved that one. And then the last track on here, never understood how this never made the Red album. She's a Woman, which was the flip side of I Feel Fine.
Exactly.
So I would definitely put that on side one of my Yellow album.
Love it.
Great.
Couple of them are on mine as well. How about you, Sam? What's on your side one?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick to the trend and start with I Saw Her Standing There. Why that didn't make the album, I don't have any clue.
Mine.
And kind of like what Jeff was saying, it's kind of hard to believe that Please Please Me wasn't more represented on that compilation. Because for me, I have 4. My first 4 are all from Please Please Me.
Wow.
So the next one, I wanted to give Ringo some representation. And I know we've talked about this song before, but I wanted to put their cover of Boys on here simply because it's kind of become more of a popular Beatles track, especially since Ringo is still alive singing it. So I thought that was just kind of a reason. If the Yellow album were to come out, say this year, I think people would appreciate that song more than they did 55 years ago. Next, I want to represent George. So I want to put Do You Want to Know a Secret on the album. This has always been one of my favorite songs. I love the guitar, how the chords are going down the neck, kind of in that minor key. Just a great performance by George. And then just like Jeff, I also want to put Twist and Shout on there just because of how the Beatles made it their own. It's such a killer track. Represents John's vocals. Then I want to go into the opener of With the Beatles with It Won't Be Long. I think that song is criminally underrated as a Beatles song, as a Beatles rocker, because you often hear about, All My Lovin' from that album, but you don't really listen to It Won't Be Long as much. And then again, I want to also, again, give Ringo his due again, and I also gave him I Want to Be Your Man. So he's going to have two songs on the first side here. And I think it's a great song. Ringo's, he's young, but he's already got like this mature voice in his singing. One of my favorite Ringo tracks. And then to close off that first side, I'm jumping to Hard Day's Night with one of my favorite songs by the Beatles, and it's And I Love Her. Just to close it with a ballad. I think it's gorgeous singing by Paul. Of course, the acoustic improv that George Harrison gave to the song in the studio is just top notch. That nylon string guitar. So I think that's a good way to close off the first side.
I think And I Love Her was on the Red album.
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, was it? Well, in that case, I have a what's it called? An honorable mention for A Taste of Honey. I want to put that onto to the first side. So that would be right under I Saw Her Standing There. So it'd be my second song.
And the only reason I know that is because it would have been it's one of my favorite Beatles songs. It would have been on my list had it not been. So that was.
Yeah, I was going back and forth with the screen because I don't actually own physical copies of the Red and Blue album.
Yeah.
So I was jumping back and forth. But yeah, so there we go. So I'll end with I Want to Be Your Man. That's equally as fun.
Yeah. I like how you're representing Ringo too. Not many of us would, but he deserves it too.
Well, and I Want to Be Your Man, of course, has a distinction of being the only song that the Rolling Stones and the Beatles both did. So
right.
Yeah, the two that I felt bad cutting were Things We Said Today and Do You Want to Know a Secret? I really love those songs, but they didn't make my cut. I'm going to make it unanimous. I Saw Her Standing There as leading off my side one as well. It's mind-boggling to me how this wasn't on the Red album. I mean, it begins their career. It's their first track on the first album, so it has to be on there. Number two is I Should Have Known Better. Love the harmonica on this, the folk rock vibe. Has to be on my album. I'm going to throw a little bit of a sleeper for my third song, What You're Doing, from Beatles for Sale. I love the song. It's like a hidden gem to me. It's underappreciated. Killer harmony. That's making the cut. Number four, She's a Woman, B-side of I Feel Fine. Great song. It's got that striking kind of guitar. Ding, 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 that start off. It's just classic. And it goes all the way through the song that way. It's kind of a bluesy, it's a pounding song. It's got that Little Richard style. She's a woman, she's a woman. He's screaming at the end. I like it. Then I'm jumping sequence a little bit. Still in the early days. I'm going to go with I'm a Loser at number 5 on the album here. That's the lead song on what's the album? Beatles for Sale again. And then I Need You is my 6th song. George, I always loved I Need You. It's got that volume pedal kind of thing at the beginning. Cowbell thrown in. I remember Tom Petty performed this at the concert for George in 2012. I liked his version. And to end my side one, Twist and Shout. I think it's a good way to end one side of the album or one side of the record. Just a great cover song. Cover of the Isley Brothers hit from '62, and that's where John, everybody knows his voice is shredded by the end of that one. So that's it.
Good pitch.
So what did we have? We only had one tune that was on all 4, and that was the leadoff track. I Saw Her Standing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A couple of us had I Should Have Known Better. I think 3 out of 4. Pretty good.
Yeah. And three of us had Twist and Shout as well.
3 of us had Twist and Shout, so that's right in the mix.
Yeah.
That just shows the greatness of the Beatles. I mean, I easily could have made another record, another double record.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I'm lucky because this came in my Red album, and it actually has all the tracks from the Red and Blue on the sides, and just a handy little key has the album and all that on the back.
Wow.
That is nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's handy to have. Okay, so my second side And the first two songs on my second side, I think, are the two biggest exclusions from the Red and Blue. Can't believe they weren't on there. Start with Taxman, the great George Harrison song. That's one of my Beatles songs. And then Taxman, I'm going to Good Day Sunshine. And those two, I mean, I remember hearing both of those on the radio when I was a kid all the time. Good Day Sunshine, especially. For some reason, in Idaho, it's always on the radio. And I've always loved that song. McCartney song. Always loved it. And that's how I'm starting out my side two was with them. And then for my third song, George Harrison again with If I Needed Someone.
Yeah.
Love that song. It just sticks in your head. Actually, that's a song that's been stuck in my head for 2 days. I went and my Tipsy Tuesday after I was done, so I had a few beers on me. I actually pulled all my records out and played every song in a row I had on here. Just went through it all and was flipping records for every song. And that one is the one that stuck in my head after this for some reason. If I Needed Someone. Kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And for number 4, I'm going off this record with Rain. I love Rain. It was actually from 1965, I believe. And it's just, the drumming in that is amazing. Ringo Starr has said that that's his best drumming he ever did with the Beatles. It's right up there. Love that song. And then the rest of my side is all from Revolver. Because it is so undervalued in the other records. So I'm going with the next song, Love You Too. Another Harrison. I got 3 George Harrison songs on this side. It's basically his side. But for you, just that sitar, and it's just very, everyone knows that song. One of my favorites. And then one of my favorite ballads, one of the best harmonies of all time, Here, There, and Everywhere. Absolutely love that song. A lot of people think it's too sappy, but I've always thought it was an amazing song.
Yep.
I absolutely love it. And then I'm finishing out the side of the early stuff with the amazing Tomorrow Never Knows. So there was nothing like Tomorrow Never Knows when that came out. It's a mind-blowingly good song.
Yeah.
So there's my side too.
I'm in the same vein. I'm not going now, but I just want to interject. I have 5 of my 7 on this side from Revolver too. Just as a
Wow.
as a preview. Jeff, what do you have?
Yeah, well, it's hard because they have so many, we're talking 6 albums to choose from, to split over 2 sides, and all the singles as well, all the non-album singles that you got to try and figure out as well. So first track on side 2 is going to be You Got to Hide Your Love Away from Help. Always love that one. A great John track. He's trying to, you can definitely tell the Dylan influence is still there. I mean, it was there on I'm a Loser, but very heavily influenced by Bob Dylan. The second song is also from Help, You're Gonna Lose That Girl. Love it. It's just a simple pop song, but I love the harmonies. I love the backing vocals on it. I love the middle 8. I mean, everything on it is just so John, and so 1965, kind of the innocence of that period is really reflected in that song. And my third one is also from Help, as it turns out. I've Just Seen a Face. Love that Paul track, kind of Paul's folk rock kind of contribution to Help, which it was a strong enough track that on the US album it led off side A. It was the first track on the album, and so for me it was always weird hearing it kind of tucked away on side 2 when it was so prominent on the US Rubber Soul album. And I mean, I can't believe this, but I think Rubber Soul was pretty well represented on the original Red album. I don't have anything from Rubber Soul on here, which feels like it's criminal, but at the same time, like I love so much from Revolver that I had to have that well represented. My number 4 is going to be Good Day Sunshine. Another song that could have easily been a single. Number 5 is going to be Got to Get You Into My Life. Just a fantastic track. Also should have been on the Red album instead of Yellow Submarine, if you ask me, but it was on the Rock and Roll Music compilation though, which is the first time that I think I actually heard it. but definitely influenced by, like the Motown, Stax, soul, with the horns. And I think that songs like that influenced bands like Chicago, who started, and Blood, Sweat and Tears, who are incorporating that, in the late 60s. My number 6 track, I agree with Aaron, Here, There, and Everywhere. Just a great harmonies. They were influenced by the Beach Boys and Pet Sounds. And, Paul McCartney, still does it live to this day. So I think it's fantastic. And then last one is going to be Rain, which was the B-side of Paperback Writer. And when people talk about, the musical progression of the Beatles, not many people talk about Rain, but Rain really, was such an innovative track. It was recorded at a faster speed and then they slowed it down for the record. You've got the backwards guitar on it and the backwards, vocals at the end. You got the fat bass. Paul McCartney finally got the bass sound that he wanted on that single. You got Paperback Writer with the fat bass, and then Rain also. That bass is just fuller than we'd ever heard on any Beatle record before. So that's my side too.
Very good. Nice.
All right.
Sam.
Side 2 for me is going to open with a ballad. I'm still on Beatles for Sale here, with I'll Follow the Sun. Will be my first track here. Just a beautiful ballad by Paul. It's one that I wish he did more. And I think when we did our ranking, Rich, I think it was my favorite song at that time. I think it still is.
Yeah.
Again, it changes every couple of weeks, but it's still my favorite song from Beatles for Sale.
That actually was one of the first songs that the Beatles wrote, that Paul McCartney wrote, was I'll Follow the Sun. He wrote that, I think, in like the early 1960 or 1961. That's how far back that song goes.
Yeah, so he was a young teenager writing this poignant love song. But
yeah,
I love the slide sounding guitar, just really simple solo. But next from that, we'll go into a Paul rocker with The Night Before. Just a killer raspy voice, Paul, belting it out from the Help album. Just one of my favorite songs. Next, we'll go into another ballad that was mentioned earlier with I Need You. So George represented on the second side with I Need You. It's my favorite song off of the Help album. Next is the single I'm Down, which again, I can't believe didn't make the album. That's just such a killer song. And it's one of those songs like Little Richard influence, with the screaming and then the background with George and John singing, I'm really down. And then of course you have like the famous Shea Stadium shot of John with his elbow on the Hammond organ. Just a killer track. And then the last three are from the Revolver sessions. The earliest one is going to be Rain, which has been mentioned by Aaron and Jeff already. Just like Jeff was saying, really innovative. Came out, I think, in May of '66, and then you had Revolver come out at the end of the summer of that same year. And so just think about how the last thing that they released was Help, and then they come out with Rain. They're worlds ahead of where they were. And at this point, they've already discussed about not touring anymore. So it's just a killer track. It should have been on the album to begin with. Next is the opening track to Revolver, Taxman. So I guess I have 2 George songs here, but the killer guitar solo by Paul, just a great song. Again, another progressive moment for the Beatles when they get politically charged. And then just like Aaron, I'm going to close it with Tomorrow Never Knows, which is my favorite track off of Revolver. Again, can't believe it didn't make the comp when it came out on the Red album. It should have. Just because of how innovative it was. And maybe that's why it didn't go on the Red album, was because, that was almost too innovative to put on the Red, but it was too early to put on the Blue. So I don't know what the thought process was, but that's how I'm going to close the front half.
Wow. I feel like I'm letting you guys down. I don't have Rain or Tomorrow Never Knows on my album. I know they're innovative. It's just not my style. I go for these poppy sing-along songs. Anyway, I'm going to lead off my second side here with I've Just Seen a Face. Just like the American Rubber Soul. I know it's from Help, but I always think of it as a lead-off track. I love it. Classic song. Next is For No One from Revolver. Great Paul song at the end of a relationship. I love that should have lasted years. Then I'm going to jump back into Rubber Soul here with I'm Looking Through You. Love that song. Bouncy, melodic, everything you want in a Beatles tune. Then, like a few of you guys, I'm going to go Here, There, and Everywhere. Next up from Revolver. Beautiful song, very romantic, harmonic, sweet. Fifth track is, I don't think anybody's had this. This is from Revolver, And Your Bird Can Sing. I like the dual lead guitars here. You've seen Seven Wonders of the World, And Your Bird Can Sing, but you can't see me. And then you've got I'm Only Sleeping, another John. I like his vocal in here where he sounds like he's half asleep and it's like dreamlike and spacey. Love that one. And I'm going to end my side with Got to Get You Into My Life. And Jeff made up a good point with the horns, and Chicago kind of was influenced a little bit, and Blood, Sweat, and Tears. And even later, Earth, Wind, and Fire, who have a brass section as well, they had a hit with it in 1978, I believe. So that's going to be my end cut on side two.
Yeah, well, I gotta say, I mean, the entire Beatles catalog, And Your Bird Can Sing, has probably got the most complicated riff of any song that they ever recorded. I mean, it just goes on for I don't know how many bars, but it's like,
Yeah.
holy crap! Like I could study guitar for 10 years and still not be able to play that riff. It's just amazing.
It's so cool sounding too. It's like nothing you've ever heard. It's really neat.
It's that intro to power pop, really.
Yeah.
Yep. Any of the songs I didn't put could have made it on here that you guys would show us.
They're just packed. They're loaded, man.
Yep. All right, are we going with side three?
This is side three or album two, yeah.
Side three. I'm going with Baby You're a Rich Man, one of my favorite Beatles songs. I know it's just a B-side, but I've always loved it, and I can't hear Marilyn Manson without thinking he ripped that song off. And I'm not a big Marilyn Manson fan, but it always like all the, with all the beautiful people thing. It's just kind of, I just love that. I grew up with this album. My family had an 8-track, so I heard that album like more than any album when I was a kid. And then I'm going for the song Getting Better from Sgt. Pepper. Love Getting Better. And that's one of the songs that is the most standout other than the ones that were on there on this. I mean, they're all great songs on here, but for a standalone song, they kind of all flow together, but Getting Better kind of holds up on its own a little more than some of the others. Like you just play it without the without the whole record to me. And then the next song is When I'm 64.
Oh, cool.
Love that song. I can't think. Yeah, I love that. And I love that it reminds me of A World According to Garp. Every time I hear that song, I'm thinking of the movie with the stuff down. Really great song. I love When I'm 64. And then another album that was not represented well enough, although Sam probably thinks it was overrepresented. But I'm going for from the White Album. The rest of the side is going to be all from the White Album. Blackbird. Blackbird, one of the best songs that Paul McCartney ever wrote, I think. And it's really hard to believe that didn't make it on the blue record. Just that one specifically. Yeah. And then after Blackbird, I'm going with Dear Prudence, one of my favorite songs. Again, love Dear Prudence. I know it's one of Jeff's favorites. And then for my song 6, Don't Pass Me By, one of my favorite Ringo Starr songs. Absolutely love that song.
Yeah.
Nice.
When I was a kid, I actually attempted to sing that into a little microphone. My grandparents had a recording of it, and I was getting the lyrics all wrong. Kind of funny. And then I'm finishing out song 7 with Helter Skelter. One of the first heavy metal songs ever, and I just think it belongs on there. Yeah. Paul's vocal, I love the blister on my fingers from Ringo at the end, all that stuff. Yeah. Great song.
Cool. Yeah, I agree with 1, 2, 3. I think I have 4 or 7 on my side.
I do too.
All right. Well, I've got a couple. Starting off side 3 is going to be Getting Better off Sgt. Pepper. And actually, Getting better was a phrase coined by Jimmy Nicol, he sat in on drums for the Beatles at the start of their tour in 1964 when Ringo had tonsillitis, I think it was, or he was out sick for a couple of dates. And Jimmy Nicol would always say, they'd be, having one of their press conferences, and press would be asking him how it's going. And he's like, oh, getting better, getting better. And John and Paul, I mean, they really took an affection to Jimmy Nicol. In fact, they even mentioned him in the Get Back film.
Yeah.
They talk about Ringo not wanting to go abroad, and they're like, so I guess we'll go abroad with Jimmy Nicol.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Getting Better is the first track on side 3. When I'm 64, I'm going to put on there as the second track. Third track, She's Leaving Home. Really love that. I feel like it's sort of like a sister track to Eleanor Rigby. My first George track, and I can't believe I waited this long to put the George song on there. And I love George, but just so many other great songs to choose from. I'm going to put The Inner Light, which was a B-side of Lady Madonna. Really like that one. I think it's got a great melody. It was kind of the last of his Indian flavored songs that he would do as part of the Beatles. Number 5, I'm going to the White Album for Blackbird. Love that track. And I can't believe this one wasn't on the Red Album. My 6th one, Birthday. Love Birthday. Just a great, I mean, who hasn't played that song if you're a Beatles fan on your birthday or, your loved one's birthday? And then the last song on side 3, we're going to go out with a bang. Helter Skelter. That's going to round out my side 3. So.
Very nice. I like how both you guys ended side 3 with Helter Skelter, because I may have that there too.
When I love the idea of I got blisters on my fingers, and then the side ends, it's like great.
Yeah.
I'm kicking myself though, because I left 2 great songs off, and I don't know how the hell that happened, but She's Leaving Home and When I'm 64. I love both those tracks, and I somehow overlooked them.
Wow.
And that sucks. Go ahead, Sam.
Well, for me, I'm starting with the only Sgt. Pepper song that I've added, and that's When I'm 64. I thought that would be an interesting start to the album, and one of my favorites. I mentioned it on our video that I sung it, I guess, 12 years ago for my grandparents' 50th anniversary, and that was kind of a fun memory. So it's always got a special place in my heart. And moving in, I've got Your Mother Should Know. It's going to be kind of like a sappy opening to the album. You're going to have these 2, show tunes numbers that Paul did with When I'm 64 and Your Mother Should Know. Then we're going to jump into Baby You're a Rich Man, which is, again, one that should have made it onto the album, and don't know why it didn't. It's one of those songs also that's underrated. I know a lot of people kind of talk down on it and Beatles listings, but I think it's a great track. Then I'm going to throw a couple of curveballs here to dip into the Yellow Submarine album. I'm going to put in It's All Too Much, which is one of my all-time favorite songs that the Beatles did. I thought when I heard it, and still when I hear it, I think it sounds very. It doesn't sound like the 60s to me. It doesn't sound like it's part of any kind of time period. It's got like this fuzz guitar, the clapping in the background. It's just, I don't know, something. It doesn't sound like anything else to me. And then next I'm going to throw in Hey Bulldog, another rockin' song that again should have made the compilation. And I've talked about this before, like my first intro into the Beatles back catalog was because of Rock Band in 2009. And this song, the first time I heard it, I thought it was just fantastic. So that's gonna be my, the 5th track. Next, I'm going to go into I actually have several from the White Album on both sides. So I'm going to do Dear Prudence to be the second to last track here. Again, a great John ballad, possibly his best ballad, maybe after In My Life. And then to close it off, I'm going to put Blackbird. Aaron and Jeff already mentioned it. Can't believe it didn't make it. It's possibly Paul McCartney's biggest song after Yesterday. Definitely one of his most played performances, one of his most played songs live, and it should definitely make the album, especially, again, kind of like what I said about Ringo on the first side. This is one of those songs that's really gained popularity because Paul is still alive and still doing it. So that's going to close out the, I guess, side C.
Yeah,
Nice.
I have one track from Revolver here, and the rest are all White Album. I have Taxman leading it off. I like the lead off track there, just like it was on Revolver. I put it on side 3, that psychedelic sound to set the tone. I think it could have fit into the White Album too. That's one of the reasons I put it here. Next, slow it down a bit. Dear Prudence, one of my favorite songs from the White Album. You know, the sun is up, the sky is blue, you're beautiful, and so are you. You can see that in the retreat. This guy's like trying to pull her out of the room, come out and play, come out and be with us. Evidently, she was isolated. And then you got Blackbird, the great Paul song. That's my third track. And this played a role in the, I think, civil rights movement of the 60s. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. You can read into that. Things were changing. My fourth one is one nobody had, and I really didn't expect anybody to have, but it's a personal favorite of mine, and that's Rocky Raccoon.
Wow.
This is a song that we used to play as kids and smoke a lot of funny things with it and get all, I don't know, get all silly with it. Rocky Raccoon. Actually, it was played at my wedding and everybody had a ball dancing and singing to that. So that's on here for a special reason. My fifth one is one of them sappy Paul songs, but I love it to death, and that's I Will. It's a straight from the heart love song. About 1:59 seconds, I believe. The next one is Julia from John. I like the metaphors in here with he's taking parts of the earth and connecting with his mother's memory, the clouds, the sky, the seashell smile, the wind. He's using all those things to remember his mother in a positive way. Her hair is floating sky, shimmering, glimmering in the sun. So I sing the song of love for you, Julia. I love that. And then I'm going to close it out with Helter Skelter, just like you guys. Loud, bombastic, great guitar work, associated with the Manson murders, of course, but it's got to be on the album for me.
Yep.
Yeah, all good ones. And when you guys are going through yours, I'm like, oh, how did I not have Dear Prudence? How did I not have Hey Bulldog? Damn it.
I can't believe I didn't have She's Leaving Home and When I'm 64. Those are classics.
It's a lot of White Album there too, Rich.
For me, it is, but I like
Yeah.
those slower. I like I Will, Dear Prudence, and Julia. They're all slower tunes, but then I have it covered with Helter Skelter and stuff. So
Yeah.
Rocky Raccoon.
and Rocky
Rocky
Raccoon.
Raccoon.
I love Rocky Raccoon.
I do too. It's just a fun, gimmicky kind of song out of nowhere. It doesn't really fit in, but in a way it does. It's kind of goofy.
You know,
I like
any song with about 5 from the White Album could have made my list.
it.
But, you know, but are we on side 4 now?
Yeah, let's do side 4.
Now, side 4 is another one of their best harmonic songs they've ever done with their harmonies, and I actually got to appreciate it more these last few years after that Beatles Love album came out, and it's Because from Abbey Road.
Yeah.
When you hear that on there with just the vocals, and it's just amazing. Yeah. I love Because, and I thought that'd be an interesting way to start the last side with just the
Cool.
song. So
well, it's really cool. There's videos you can watch on YouTube where they break down the 3-part harmonies. They isolate John's voice, Paul's voice, and George's voice. And I had no idea that George was singing what he was singing, or, you know, I'd never been able to differentiate John's part and Paul's part. And they actually double track their vocals. So what you're hearing is almost 6 voices harmonizing on that track. But it's such an underrated track on Abbey Road.
Yeah, I've seen that too. That's really cool. I love that. Yep.
Nice.
And then I'm going back to the White Album for 2 more songs. Happiness is a Warm Gun, which I absolutely love. Love, you know, it's just one of my favorites. And Glass Onion. I had to have Glass Onion. One of my favorites. I love all the references to the other Beatles songs, the tongue-in-cheek references, and stuff. Just, it's always been one of my favorite songs from here. And I left a lot of my favorite songs from here off this. Those ones. And then I'm going next to Let It Be with I've Got a Feeling. Love that song. Yep, that's the one. I had to make sure. And that's actually my only one from Let It Be that made this. And I don't know. There's like 5 more of them from Let It Be that almost made it, but didn't quite. And then this is has been mentioned already. I'm going with Hey Bulldog.
Wow,
Yellow
nice.
Submarine. Love Hey Bulldog. That's a very underrated song. People don't really know it as well because it's on this record, I think. And it's one of John's best. I really love Hey Bulldog. And then to finish it out, maybe my favorite vocal performance from Paul Stanley, from Paul McCartney. Oh, Darling. I love Oh, Darling. The vocals on that are just phenomenal, and it's always been one of my favorite songs. Growing up, it was my mom's favorite song, and we had this on vinyl, Revolver on vinyl, so I heard those two a lot in the house. The Magical Mystery Tour in the car. So I grew up listening to these since I was like 3-4 years old, and always been one of my favorites. And I'm finishing out side 4 with a bang with I Want You. She's So Heavy. One of my favorite, one of the best tracks, and I just thought it'd be a good way to end it. Love that song.
Very good.
All right, leading off side 4, I've got Revolution 9. Just a fantastic.
Some Maggie May.
Yeah, all together now. No. All right, starting off side 4, I'm gonna go with It's All Too Much. I mean, if All Too Much had been on the White Album, I think it would be higher. It would be regarded higher than I think what it is when it just kind of got stuck on Yellow Submarine. But that's a fantastic, it's such a heavy track.
I agree.
And you got brass on there and you got feedback. And I just love the beginning of it. To your, and then you got that. You know, it sounds like Jimi Hendrix or something like that. But it's like, come on, that song is amazing. And it deserved better than just being on that soundtrack. But anyway, so that's my first track. Second track is going to be Oh Darling. Always love that one. Paul, great vocal on there. John's encouragement. You know, he kind of shredded his vocal just like John did on Twist and Shout. Gonna go now. This one, I broke it into 3 songs because I didn't want to cheat, but I'm going with Golden Slumbers, Carry That Weight, and The End for my next 3. Because I just love how Abbey Road ends. So I got to stick those ones on there. And then my last 2 are I've Got a Feeling, but I'm retitling I've Got a Feeling as I Gotta, Gotta, just so my album will be rare and people will want to seek it out because it's got the track listed wrong. So it'd be a collector's item.
Right.
The initial pressings would have it misspelled. And then the last track to close it out, I'm going to go with For You Blue. So see, I recovered. I didn't have hardly any George at all on the first record, and I totally made up for it on the second record. So
Excellent.
Wow. Well, like all of y'all did on the first side of this album, I'm going to open with Helter Skelter for the last side. Just a blistering track. It deserves to be an opener. I think it's just a killer track, like you said, with Ringo at the end yelling. It's just great. It's just great. And then I'm gonna slow it down a little bit and jump into I Will by McCartney, one of my favorite McCartney songs, just under 2 minutes long.
Right.
Again, I think I mentioned it on our video, Rich, that I wish it was longer, and I wish that Paul did it more in concert. He did it, I think, in the US tour quite a bit, but he's kind of been iffy about it ever since, maybe because of its length. And then I'm going to go back into some more shredding vocals with Oh Darling, my favorite track off of Abbey Road. And I was when I was doing the Abbey Road songs on here, I thought about going the Jeff route with doing the whole Golden Slumbers medley, but that song only works on Abbey Road, I think, in that format. Like, I think on a compilation, I don't know, it wouldn't flow the same, but I digress. Next, my least favorite song on Abbey Road, but I think it needed to be shown on this album, is I Want You. She's So Heavy. John doesn't have much on this half of the album, so I thought I would give him that song. Plus, you have the heaviness of Helter Skelter. I thought I would give him the heaviness of I Want You on this side. And then lastly, heading to Let It Be, I was going to jump into Two of Us, which again, one of my favorite Beatles tracks, and I've mentioned it before. It's one of the last instances of a Lennon-McCartney, like a true collaboration with the two of them, winding down their professional friendship with this album. Just a great, it's a great opening track on Let It Be, but it deserves a place on this comp as well. Then also, just like Aaron and Jeff, I've Got a Feeling has to make an appearance. My favorite track off of Let It Be. Again, another one of those great Lennon-McCartney collaborations where it's two segments of different songs, put them together, mix up the melody a little bit to make it flow. It's so cool to see it on the Get Back documentary with them doing it on the rooftop and them just smiling and laughing, in the studio, because they really focus on this song quite a bit in that documentary. And then to close it off, I thought it would be neat to kind of go back to the beginning of their career. So I thought I would close it with One After 909. Just it's one of those early Beatles songs in the late 50s that they recorded early on, and there's some alternate versions of it on the first anthology album. But I thought it would be really cool to end this album with one of the older songs, even though this was recorded 1969. So that will do it for side D.
Sam throwing a little shade on Jeff's side for there. Hating on the Abbey Road medley. I don't think I was going to let that one just go
Well,
by.
hey,
but...
Jeff, I saw your Magical Mystery Tour video too. So the shade is all around.
I'm all about the controversy, man.
That's great.
I'll take anybody on.
I stayed out of that on purpose because I love the accusations. I think they were pointed a certain way, but that's
they were
cool.
flying.
Yeah, that was awesome. Me and Sam had a couple laughs over it.
It was hilarious, man.
I was not in the right frame of mind when I did that video.
That's okay.
I'll leave it at that.
I had flack from another source that was on your side on that, and that's all I'm going to say. Another person that thought I was out of my mind to be a little Sergeant Pepper, but I really wasn't. I just like the songs on Magical Mystery Tour a tad more. Although
Well, it's all down to taste. I mean, you can't, you're really going to tell somebody, well, that can't be your favorite song.
Yeah.
Which people do. People leave that all the time on my comment section, and you're not allowed to have your own opinion. God forbid.
Those albums are so close. I know that Sergeant Pepper, has the reputation and it's a trendsetter and this and that, but
yeah,
the songs on Magical Mystery Tour, even though it wasn't conceived that way with a lot of the hits, pretty strong. Anyway, I'm going to go with I've Got a Feeling to lead off my side here. This song really impressed me with the way they worked on it in the documentary. You can really see it got a lot of play, and then on the roof, and it's moved up my charts pretty well in the last 3-4 months. I didn't think much of it before, but watching it, you see what went into it. The second track is The Two of Us Trading Places. I like the dual lead vocals. Then I'm going to go into Abbey Road. Oh, Darling. Everybody had that real strong, soulful performance by Paul. Sounds like old school R&B to me. He's, he gets in that spoken word, believe me, darling. It's like almost like a doo-wop guy interjecting. Then I'm going to go one of the heavier tracks. I Want You, She's So Heavy. That has to be on the album for me. A complete, unique song. Could have been a White Album song too. It's so heavy, but I put it on here. And then I'm going to end it sort of like Jeff was talking about. I got 3 of the side 2 songs individually that I want to count as my 5, 6, and 7. And that would be You Never Give Me Your Money, Golden Slumbers, and Carry That Weight. They're all making. I'm going to end with Carry That Weight because all 4 of the Beatles are singing at the end. You're gonna carry that. It's a good way to end an album. They're all like, pulling their weight, so to speak. So that's the way I went with that album.
One of the things that I think is really cool about Sun King is I always thought Sun King and Mean Mr. Mustard were separate recordings, that they just kind of sandwiched together. That actually is the same recording. It's the same take. They recorded Sun King and went straight into Mean Mr. Mustard. That's not 2 separate takes, which I always thought was very cool, that they could just shift gears like that, but.
Speaking in Spanish, going into Mean Mr. Mustard.
Yeah, well, it's fake. It's not real. It's not really, John's kind of whatever you want to, gibberish, but I think it works so well and I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
I've got an added thing I did for this, but I'll wait till you guys are ready for it.
I'm ready for it. I
I'm
mean,
beyond ready for it.
I think
Okay,
all
yeah.
four of
I'll
us
try to
had.
do this quick, a lot, so I'll get through it in a couple minutes.
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
what I did, since this record is coming out now, there's going to be a special edition of it, of my version, that's going to have a 45 in there. And if you notice, I didn't put Twist and Shout, and that was for a reason, because I didn't put any cover songs on mine, and I'm going to make a 45 a Twist and Shout and Act Naturally to go into mine. And then also, keeping with today's theme, I'm going to have a box set. And in my box set, that's the reason I picked the yellows, because they were prime colors. I'm going to have a yellow vinyl, and then I'm going to have an orange album, a single orange album coming in, which is going to have on side one, I'm Down, I Want to Be Your Man, P.S. I Love You, What Goes On, Yes It Is, No Reply, and I've Just Seen a Face. On side two, Got to Get You Into My Life, I'm Looking Through You, She Said, I Want to Tell You, For No One, The Word, and It's Only Love. And that's going to be on orange vinyl in my box set. And then there's also
Aaron, what does that retail for?
Yeah.
I'm gonna pre-order that. What's it gonna set me back?
It's a lot. But since they're making all these massive box sets, and I thought I would go down the green album. Side one is gonna start out with Good Morning, Good Morning. Then Blue Jay Way, Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite, Lovely Rita, Mother Nature's Son, Your Blues, and Everybody's Got Something to Hide Except Me and My Monkey. And on side two, it starts out with Birthday, Rocky Raccoon, For You Blue, Two of Us, and then it's going to end with She Came In Through the Bathroom Window, Golden Slumbers, Carry That Weight in the end. That's how the whole box set will end with that. So I told you I've been thinking about this for years. So,
You have.
It's kind of pretty had it. So I kind of have, so there'll be the regular yellow record and the special edition with the 45, and then the box set, which has all of it.
And I've heard it's kind of like the All Things Must Pass, where we're going to get a piece of your Chargers hat that comes with it.
Do they all
Walmart exclusive.
They all come with
T-shirt.
booklets and lyrics, and I mean, throw everything in there. It's awesome.
And the box set will also have the extra 45 with Julia and I Will. Those two songs.
Oh, cool.
Didn't come on there. The two mellow songs that are really good from the White Album. I forgot on the other side.
Wow.
Julio's going to throw a curve in there somewhere. But
Very nice.
Is that a limited copy kind of thing?
Yeah.
RSD?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
I'll colored mine.
I'll call it. Yeah.
All right, cool. That was a lot of
And
fun.
the Super Deluxe, we have the blue and the red all colored too.
Right. But the thing is, they're different. Like the blue album has like the red vinyl, and the red album has the blue vinyl. It's all mixed up to really mess up with people.
Yeah.
Nicely done. I was wondering where you were going with that curveball. Now I know. That was good. I think, are there any Beatles songs that we didn't mention today?
Oh, none of them. Oh, there was like some of my favorites I didn't even put on there, like the continuing story of Bungalow Bill.
Right.
Within You, Without You.
My name, look up the number.
Yeah, there's a ton of them. I had another whole list. I could have made a double record even after all this. So like I said, this has been like a thing I've been thinking of for 30 years.
I'm glad you had the idea. Glad we were all able to partake in it. It's excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, guys, for coming on. I want everybody out there to comment. Leave a couple sides of your own choices as well. We'd like to hear some different takes on what we're trying to do here with our little experiment. It was a lot of fun getting together. So be sure to subscribe to these guys. Sam St. John, of course, running a contest right now, working his way up the VC charts. Love his channel. Same with Aaron Mutha Alamare, great guy. His idea, he has had this building since he was a kid, so we finally made it happen. Glad to do so. And of course, Jeff Whitcher, Vinyl Destination, one of the great guys and comedian. He managed to put Revolution 9 in among this somehow. give it a shout out, even though we all hate that song and shit all over it whenever we can. But anyway, thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Peace.